Acadia After Dark is a horror podcast, and as such, may not be appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening, hikers. Welcome back to the Acadia After Dark podcast. On our brand new night, new time. As always, I am your host, Reverend Redbeard. I'm very happy to be back with you. We've got a fun episode this week. Trying out a kind of new format for the show, because we're going to be restructuring quite a few things in the channel. More to come on that a little later. But before we get going, we're going to check out some news from the past couple of weeks. First things first, we had a nice little update coming out of Michigan this week. I thought everybody would find to be pretty interesting. So let's check this out from ABC 12.
For the first time in more than 100 years, cougar cubs have been discovered living in the Michigan wild. The Michigan DNR confirmed the discovery, saying the two cubs were spotted on private land in Ontonagon County in the western Upper Peninsula. This is the first time that cougar cubs have been verified since cougars were hunted out of existence in Michigan in the early 1900s. These cubs are believed to be 7 to 9 weeks old and have not been spotted since March 6th. Cougars are on the endangered mammals list in Michigan, and because of this, the DNR is reminding people it is illegal to hunt or harass them. It's also illegal to try and locate their den.
So that was some pretty exciting news out of Michigan. And Michigan typographically is not that different right now from Maine as far as population densities and things like that. So the fact they could be making a return there, pretty clear sign to me that they could possibly be making a return up here in Maine. And as we've talked about before on the show, there's plenty of evidence to prove that there could be. I mean, over the course of 100 or so years since they've supposedly been extinct in the state, we've had numerous reports. I've seen twice myself. And basically every person that I know has seen one at one point or another. Then on top of that, you have anecdotal evidence, but unfortunately when there's not consistent evidence of a breeding population, it's pretty easy to kind of sweep things aside. As I've said before, I think the combination of population density as well as the low human-animal encounter ratio makes Maine one of those areas where we could have species here that only get seen on the rare occasion and nobody would really know the difference. So it's definitely something worth considering. When you look at how densely forested the northern part of the state is, and they might say, oh, well, there's not like caves and things that they like to live in. Well, there may be more than you think, honestly. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least a few that drifted through the state and kind of settled near the coast where there are more sorts of caves and rock formations and things like that. But we'll move on to the next story. So this one was another one covered by, I picked it up because a friend of the show, Tim Banal, wrote an article about it on Coast to Coast AM. But here's the BFRO report on it. Check this out. So audio listeners will definitely want to see this if they can look it up online. But basically, what we're seeing is a set of footprints going through the snow. They start out roughly about 10 feet apart, the first couple of tracks, and then they get significantly closer. This is taken in York, Maine, apparently. Now, about a week or two after this, there was another set of tracks that was found in Greenville. Unfortunately, those ones, I believe, were actually from a human, based off of the size of them, and that there was somebody apparently that was known to walk around the area barefoot, even in the winter. But this video is pretty interesting, kind of a little more convincing to me, because of the distance and spacing between the tracks here. And these are very fresh. The snow is still falling as this video is going on. So you're seeing there's about I'd say a good 6 to 7 foot span. And they're large prints. And then they walk off into the other direction. Now, he follows them for a pretty good distance, but I don't think he went any further here. And Maine has been known to have quite a few Bigfoot sightings over the years. A lot down in my area, down here near the coast, have been reported. And it's another of those situations where the low population in the more remote areas makes it very easy for them to hide out. We call them pine apes here. That was a term that was coined years ago by some researchers. And it's a pretty convincing video. It was an interesting set of tracks anyways. And it's, areas like that, it's like people aren't usually apt to be out there messing around, especially not in the middle of a snowstorm. I mean, you could be, but it'd be kind of a silly thing to do for what you're getting out of it, which is not a lot. So the last thing that we're going to cover in this part of the news cycle this week, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin's wife was arrested on suspicion of soliciting murder. This came up in the news cycle last week. As of 3 days ago, CNN covered it. And they went on to say that she was arrested on suspicion of solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy for murder after police uncovered she had been involved in a murder-for-hire plot with her husband as the intended target. Wow. I mean, it's pretty unfortunate because he seems like a wicked nice guy that just has terrible luck. And yeah, it's one of those things, man. After all those times that Zach tried to get him possessed by a demon and shit like that, kind of got to wonder if something stuck with him after all those times. But unfortunately, this is a really sad situation. It sounds like he was pretty broken up about the whole situation. I don't know why she's saying that he filed for divorce afterwards. Apparently claims that she was afraid that he wouldn't want to. I don't know why that would be the case because I don't know their relationship and behind closed doors, but you don't have to have a guy killed. It's just a whole other level to this entire madness there, and I feel like a lot of people are soulless when it comes to, money. So I wasn't really sure what to think of this the first time I heard about it, because honestly, the stuff goes through the news cycle, and if you just click a headline, it could be one thing or another. But this one, as it's developed, it's gotten pretty nasty, man. I don't like it. Wishing the best for him. Hopefully she gets the help she needs and spend some time away and he can move on to better things because that's fucking madness. But we'll move on to some updates with the show. That's it for the news this week. We have some guests next week coming up that I think people will be pretty excited in the next few shows. We're going to talk to a local author that's got some stories on the way that he's working on having published now. We're also going to speak to a local musician soon. We're just finalizing a date on that, hopefully sooner rather than later. And we're going to have a guest I just reached out to today. I'm hoping to hear back from him sooner rather than later. I'm trying to get somebody from the Maine Paranormal Con to come on and talk to me and hype up that, because I'm going to be definitely looking forward to attending that. This, I guess it would be in the summer still. And when we go to that, I definitely like to get to meet some people while I'm there. Very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great time. Trying to get somebody from there to come on the show and talk to me and see what's going to be the situation for that whole thing. And we're also going to have some new updates, as I was saying before, to the format of the show. So we talked a little bit about it last week. This week we rolled out the teaser for it. And basically what we're going to have coming forward is the show's going to be broken up into 4 parts now. The official podcast is going to still be a weekly thing, but I think we're going to be spacing out some of the other shows a little more. So as of now, we're going to have 4 shows coming to the Acadia After Dark channel. We're going to have the official podcast, which is what you are listening to right now. That will be continuing on with just a slightly more, let's say, rigid format, because we're going to try and have more regular interviews, and then we're going to have some topical content, news-based stuff, current events, things like that on the weekly. So definitely look forward to that. So it means anytime we do an interview now, that interview goes an hour. That means that show is probably going to be broken into 2. We're going to do part of it is going to be the news stuff, and then the other part is going to be the interview. And then we're also going to be continuing on with Fearsome 5. I've been enjoying the deep dives, well, not too deep dives into the fearsome critters of Maine. Even though it doesn't do the best on the algorithm right now, I think one of these days it's going to be something to look back to and might be something fun that people enjoy. So I'm just going to keep on until we're gotten through at least the ones that Maine has. We may not do this for other states, but I'm going to stick to the Maine one, and then after that, we'll see where we're at. So the next one, which is going to be here, we are going to have the official podcast, as we were saying. Fearsome 5 is going to be continued, and that one will be going to a bi-weekly format. So every other week, we'll have a new episode of Fearsome 5, at least until we've gotten through most of the main fearsome critters, and then we'll kind of reevaluate and see if we're going to keep on with other fearsome critters or if we're going to go on for something different. I don't know. We'll see. Because there's tons of other, like, stuff that's not a fearsome critter in Maine, so we could definitely do more cryptids, but I kind of also want to save them for the other series that we have coming up. And that is going to be Acadia After Dark Campfire Stories. So that's going to be a brand new series that's going to basically take the place of the original format for Acadia After Dark. It's going to be the story and then covering the basic information into a more deep dive format. So it'll be like, for instance, the Catherine Hill episode would be a pretty good example, where we're going to talk more about the legends that we have around here that don't really fit into a narrative context. And that'll be followed up pretty quickly because that's also going to be a bi-weekly series. And that one, I think people are going to enjoy that. If you enjoyed the original season of Acadia After Dark, this is definitely going to be something that's going to scratch that itch, but it's going to be weekly and we're not going to have breaks between seasons. We're just going to write new episodes every week because it's just going to be a different story each week. And then coming up, wrong one. So this is going to be the next season of Acadia After Dark, Painted Red. We're going to take this a whole different direction with this next season. And we're going to be doing a longer anthology format. I'm not going to give anything away right now in the full details of what we're going to be talking about, but it is going to be pretty deep into the Maine folklore. I think y'all are going to be definitely into this. It's going to be a fun time. I've been researching it for quite a while now, and I'm almost through the I've got the timeline for things. I'm just working out how soon we're going to do this because I don't want to rush into it and have it be half-assed. It's a project that I really think that y'all are going to enjoy, and I'm excited to show you what I've got. So, that being said, we're going to actually have another update next week that's going to be much longer. And next week's episode will have a interview. Enjoy that. And when we come back, I'm also going to have a announcement because I have a meeting tomorrow scheduled with someone who reached out to me the other day. We're going to be featured, first of all, in the Bar Harbor story at some point in the near future. I don't know a specific date on that, but it's coming right up. Today, I was on the Zombie Apocalypse podcast. Go check that episode out. I posted about it on most of our social medias, so if you're on Instagram or Threads, you probably saw it. If you haven't, go check it out. It's a good episode. We talked about all kinds of Maine cryptids and stuff. I'll be having him on my show in the near future as well. Just chit-chat about some stuff and get his thoughts on some of the weirder Maine stories. Maybe get some of his Wisconsin folklore from him. And then we're also going to have a special announcement coming right up here about a special project that I'm very much looking forward to. But I don't want to give away very much because until it's finalized and I 100% know that it's a go, I don't want to spill the beans and I don't want to hype it up too much until I have the full details. But I think it's going to be something really special. And if it works out, I'll know tomorrow. And then you all will know. And we'll go from there. Anyways, this is going to be a shorter episode of the podcast, but we will be back next week with a probably much longer episode if you know what happens with most of our interviews. So anyways, y'all stay safe out there. Keep those lanterns lit. I'll be back soon. This is the Reverend Redbeard. Have a good one.